So it really was, I think, for a lot of us in March, it was a trial by fire. And we were fortunate a couple of different ways, something we chatted about a little while ago, that we have a large evening division. We're used to posting content. We're used to be using technology. So that made things a little bit easier for us. Also at Suffolk, we had been on spring break when it was announced that we would be closing down the building. I think it was on the Tuesday or Wednesday of spring break. So we also all had a few days to ramp back up before classes began. Now, a few days is not a lot of time, but it was a lot more time than I think some schools had. Some schools had to shut down an extra period just so that they could try to get things off the ground. It was, I think, difficult for faculty and students alike. And from the student perspective, I think it was difficult being being invisible in a classroom, not feeling like their voices were heard quite as much as they were accustomed to them being heard in a live classroom. And over time, the faculty became much more proficient at finding ways to acknowledge students during class. One thing I've been discussing with my colleagues, I help run our teaching assistant program, is that utilizing teaching assistants is a fantastic way of engaging in a Zoom conversation, because the teaching assistant can monitor the participants, can do polls, can let you know what the questions are, so opposed to sitting there and speaking for a half an hour and saying, now, do you have any questions? The questions can occur a little bit more organically. So a lot of us were learning those things on the fly during the fall, during the end of the spring semester. For the students, one thing I talked about quite a bit with individual students on one-on-one sessions with them is, this has become a job now. You have to recognize, like I did several years ago, I had a sabbatical, and I realized I was going to bed later and later and getting up later and later, and nothing was getting done. You need to get up when you normally get up. You need to get in front of the computer when you normally would get in front of the computer, or even earlier because you're not commuting now, and start your work day at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and just get into that routine. And then I think that was difficult because everyone's routine had been shattered. We weren't going to the same coffee places in the morning. We weren't getting on the commuter rail in Boston or the subway or the T or wherever it is you travel. You weren't getting in your car. So those routines were all changed. And suddenly we're all sitting in front of our computers, a lot of folks, not the professors, but a lot of folks in pajama tops and bottoms, or at least hiding the pajama tops, but wearing their pajama bottoms, and a lot of sweatpants were worn. So I think that was difficult, is figuring out the ways to be productive in this new environment.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.